So today is very exciting because I get to sit down with Jackie, and Jackie helps people get registered as NDIS providers. And my job is to help build the website of someone who is wanting to promote themselves in NDIS world and find themselves a whole stack of new participants. So Jackie, the reason you're here is because we're looking at what is the journey between going from, right, I'm a physio who specialises in stroke victims, or I'm an OT who specialises in helping kids who can't walk well. What's the journey of knowing what you want to do and then being able to promote yourself? What are your thoughts, Jackie, given your experience?
So to help someone decide on what their niche is, what we need to do is we really need to understand who our model client is. So from that information, we can then make sure we're directing our marketing to meet their expectations and their needs
Mhm.
and to get them excited enough to get in contact with you
Okay.
because they can see a direct connection between what they're looking for and what you provide, and they can see themselves in your marketing material. So therefore, there's a beautiful match between what they need and what you deliver. So to help create that match, you sort of have to take a few backward steps. And one of those is to create a profile of your ideal client. Some people call it an avatar, but what it is, it's just a general idea of who you're wanting to serve, because from there you can identify what their needs are and you can create this model person who is like an overlay for all your marketing. So get the images that look like them. You'll situate them in situations that are where you serve clients. So if you're a physio and you work in a hospital, you might, or a clinical setting, you might have a clinical setting. If they're in the community or in their home, you can reflect that. And you can also reflect the client demographic data. The
Uh,
more authentic the photos are, the more people feel that you're a real person and you're not like a bot or a fake website.
I love it. Well, let's try something. So this here is an example of a disability services provider who, I mean, in some ways, they could come across as just vanilla, but they're not vanilla because what they're doing is they're taking the services they offer, which are really just the same services a lot of other providers would offer, but they're putting an overlay of just this idea of sparking joy. Let's enjoy life together. You know, life is for living, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And so they are a bit vanilla in some ways, but they're also very caring, and they found a way to distinguish themselves by emphasizing bringing the fun into life. And then I think of another group that I've also done the website for recently, where they're very much into mental health while they're doing SIL, and so they've actually been very clear. Hey, we do mental health. We have a track record of supporting complex mental health. And again, they would have looked vanilla if they hadn't really emphasized this. So, what are your thoughts, Jackie, when you look through? There are so many people who you work for who just aren't making that distinction. Like, what are your thoughts around this?
Well, there's a few things I've picked up on both those websites. So if you want that I've picked up on,
Sure, let's start with the
uh,
Spark Joy one.
yeah. So this Spark Joy one, if we actually map out who the avatar of our client, what we would do is not only think about the person who is the end user of a service, but also the person involved in the decision making. So what we're doing is we're really looking at who is going to make the decision here and who's going to be the influencer. So if the main decision maker is the carer, for example, the parent or the guardian, they'll have a set of ideas in their mind about what they want for their loved one.
That's
And what
interesting.
they want for their loved one could be NDIS supports done well, because they don't want the service provider where it's questionable, where there's no obvious link between being done well and just being vague and maybe not done well. So that's a big thing there. I think the other thing is the photos in here look authentic. So this, is it Nicola?
This
This
is
young
Nicola.
lady here,
Yeah, we
Nicola.
we tried to put her on a few different spots because really we wanted, like you said, that whoever phones them up at the end of the day to feel like they know who they're going to be talking to. So yeah,
So Nicola doesn't look intimidating. And she also looks like she's ready to respond to them as well. And she looks like she's energetic. She sort of knows what she's doing, but she's not too. old school, like a clinical nurse or something like that. She's a little bit more hip and happening.
Yep.
And so imagine you've got a parent who's got a child who might be, in their 20s, 30s, or 40s perhaps,
Yep.
who is looking to have them become more independent. So they're looking for supported independent living.
Yep.
So by saying it's fun, that's what they want for their child. They don't want them in a really drab, dreary environment where there's no activities and they're just going to be really unhappy. They want to see their child happy. So by having these lovely, happy photos, that's reflecting in how you see your client's expectations. So if the client is expecting to see a happy environment, well, you can tick that off your list because that's represented there. If they want youth, serving youth, that is also reflected there. So by starting to build out what are the expectations and needs as part of your avatar around your client, then you're going to be ticking everything off because you've got age, you've got to think about locations. So it's a really good idea to say where you serve, not just what you do, but what locations. And also what disability types you're going to be serving. So with the Empower Living one, where they say complex mental health,
That's
that's
good. Yeah.
brilliant. Because if you're caring for someone who's got complex mental health issues, you're going to be so drawn to that because you'll have more confidence that this provider can meet your needs.
That makes
That they're
actually a lot of
like a
sense.
low need. A lot of people are in the low needs. Not many people work in that complex end because it's much harder to deliver those services. You need a lot stricter NDIS registration. You need much more highly qualified people. So from a quality perspective, it's going to be a lot higher is the expectation I think that the consumer would have.
That's interesting you say that. And I also think, Jackie, if you go back to say this one here, there's truth and then there's whitewashing. So anyone can go and claim we're here to spark joy in your kids. We're here to make it so that because these guys aim a lot at teens and people in their 20s. Anyone can say that they do that, but like you're saying, they use photos and real life photos of others to demonstrate that. Even the photos of the staff show, you know what, she's happy, she's obviously a quality
Yeah.
person. And then say in this one here, when we're really focusing on mental health, anyone again can claim to be focused on mental health, but that's where things like actually demonstrating your expertise comes in. Because I mean, they're listing out the 6 factors that they really focus on with people's mental health. And then they go, right, if you want to deal with those 6 factors, here are some of the things that you look for in a
Yeah, so
provider.
it's not just having like a headline. It's actually giving a little bit of detail. And the more people can relate and say, yes, that's what we want, and maybe that's what we haven't had in the past, it really helps you to stand out as a provider.
Absolutely. And then the journey of someone on a website, like the technical, like the path that they'll take is they'll go to the homepage. The first thing they'll do is assess, do I trust this page? They go,
Yeah.
well, maybe she's a model, maybe she's not. Oh, they're real people. Okay, I trust these people. They'll go to the service that they're looking for. Say if it was mental health, like we were just looking at. Oh, that's what I need. And then they'll make their way to the contact us page. So what goes through your head, Jackie, when you look at this contact us page?
Well, when it says the support you've been looking for, it reminds me in Star Wars, where they say, these are not the droids you're looking for. It basically is like a hypnotism because you're telling someone, hey, you've landed in the right place. And that's what makes people feel more secure rather than that question of, oh, I don't know who I'm going to be calling. Well, you've reassured them by giving them a photo. And to be able to speak to an actual person is a bit of an old-fashioned concept. And it makes people feel so much better to be able to judge the person that you're talking to. Are they making sense? Are they cogent? Do they look like they know what they're doing? So having a photo is very reassuring because it's definitely not a chatbot because it's an actual person.
That's true. And the other thing is what you're talking about of who's the person who's going to be contacting us on this website. They're
Yeah.
probably a support coordinator or a mum. Now, this lady, Eve, she looks to me like maybe she's just turned 40. She could well be a support coordinator or she could well be a mum. There's a lot of, I guess, trustworthiness in that. But I guess when you look at setting out your marketing for your, whether it's your website or whatever it is, if you haven't being clear with yourself about who are we here to serve, well, you can't build towards that. I guess, Jack. Yep.
Yeah, and that who are we here to serve really is at the core of the provider's business, because what we offer needs to be linked with who we can deliver it to. If it's not linked to that, it's too vanilla and
Yeah.
it doesn't attract people. So it's the difference between attracting people and just being like a billboard.
That makes sense. I get it. So I guess today we've looked at how do we, if we're a provider, nail down who we're here to serve and what our purpose is, and then how do we display that in a way that works. And obviously there's so much more to it, but the bottom line is until we get clear about I'm not here to serve everyone, I'm here to serve this narrow group of people, this thin group of people. Okay, until I know exactly who I'm here to serve, I can't get photos that match those people. I can't speak their language, and I can't talk about things that they're interested about. Jackie, if people want to get in touch with you or with me, they can. Say for me, I make NDIS websites for people. You can see my website there, athletickoala.com.au. Jackie, if people want to get in touch with you, what is it that you do for people, and then how will they contact you?
So what I help people to do is to set up their business. So to come up with the key things that they need. So,
And you're at nurturingndis.com.au. All right,
yeah,
it's been so great to have you come and join us. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
absolute pleasure. Thanks.